There's almost always a way to kind of to make the lock fit the key, or key fit the lock.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good. Let's see. I asked what you left out of the story, but I'm not sure if we got. Do you still eat peanut butter sandwiches?
Reluctantly.
Yeah, reluctantly. Yeah. All right. So, what did you guys do in Alaska?
Oh, there's a great story. There's one great story, actually. We fished a lot. We ate a lot of salmon.
Okay.
The campground was located on a sort of large creek, small river that went into the sea there. So the salmon would come up that creek. And this is one of my other great stories. I've never told this in a storytelling story, but we were forbidden. I was a really skinny 9-year-old, and I was pretty daring. And I hung out with my little 5-year-old brother a lot.
Yeah, you moved out.
Yeah, I moved out. I was like, I'm out.
Moved under the table. So, yeah.
We were told not to double hook our fishing poles. So I knew how to fish. I knew how to catch a salmon. I had been expressly forbidden to double hook because a heavy salmon was, not that much less than I weighed at the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't care. I did it anyways. I double hooked my fishing pole because I wanted to give myself twice the chances of catching a fish. Well, on this particular day, I brought in 2 salmon, and it literally was one of these things where I had this little kid fishing pole, and my brother was laying on the back of my legs, and I pulled in and landed.
Holding you down?
Yes, yeah. Holding me down.
That's
and amazing. I landed 2 salmon, and that was one of the most extraordinary experiences.
And that was dinner?
That was dinner and breakfast and lunch. And more than that, it was just yeah.
You did it. Yeah.
Pretty much. It was like, once you land 2 salmon as a 9-year-old, you're like, I got $20 in my shoe and I caught 2 fish on one pole. I'm good. I'm going to be all right.
And a piece of Cadbury somewhere. Yeah. Oh, nice. So you guys, you lived in Ketchikan on in the truck, more or less?
No. I wish we had lived in the truck. No, it was just, I don't even know where they got this tent from. It was like an old Army surplus. They probably went to a surplus store and picked up this old tent.
Didn't use the camper of the truck, or?
No. I think because my stepdad needed to drive it to the cannery.
That makes sense. Yeah. He needed to get to work.
Yeah. To get to,
to
Hi,
work.
honey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So your process for telling a story, you told just recently and told a really nice story and it went really well. So were you prepared to tell that story, or did you just kind of wing it?
Yeah, I was prepared to tell that story. And no, that was one I had written and listened to. But the one that I'm telling next month, if I get to tell it, is one that I feel it's a rare story that I just know so well I can just tell.
Like it's a part, you'll tell it at a party.
Yeah. It's one of those. I don't have a lot of those, but it is one of those. So
nice.
Yeah.
So this is one that some people, well, I don't know if their audience members have seen you before, but that maybe they've heard it before from you at a party, or no?
Maybe if I had any friends in the audience, then they may have heard the story. They may have heard it. Yeah, it's the kind of story I tell a friend or.
Nice. Everybody's got one of those stories.
Yeah.
Some people have a couple, but majority of people have one story that is their go-to story that they can entertain 4 or 5 people at a party for 5 minutes.
Right.
And then they move on. And
Well, about 3.5 minutes, and then I flee. But
okay, well, flesh it out a little bit, and we'll get it there. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to flip over. So, and you rehearse the story, or you just listen to it over and over again?
I try to rehearse it, in the car. Try to get the good points or the words I want to use, the words I care about. Yeah.
There's in your head bullet points of words that you want to hit, or
yeah. I have a very kind of photographic memory, so if it starts with, where did the cow go? I'll imagine a big W. And then when I get to that point, the W will pop out. W, where? where did the cow go?
Oh, the W, not the picture of a cow in your head.
No,
the picture of a W.
because the W reminds me of the where,
Okay. Yeah.
So
you do rehearse every now and then, and what's the next part of that story? There has to be. You guys, did you run into the man a third time? Obviously, a second time you ran into him, he gave you a 20 and a Cadbury. But did you see him again?
No, I don't really remember that. I just mostly remember. I think also like there was a lot of fracture in our family. Of course, you can sort of hear the implicit stress that we were under as a family, and I remember the feeling when we all rose as a group to exit the cafeteria, and then we went out and we all rolled with laughter on the deck. Like we were like gut splitting, tears streaming down our face. And there weren't a lot of memories that I have as a family where we were all kind of feeling the same feeling at the same time. And that is one of them because it was hilarious.
The poor guy.
Yes.
How much sandwich did he have left?
No, and the 2-year-old had gummed it. It was, yeah.
Nice.
So,
Well, I don't have anything else. Do you guys have questions? Anyone have a question for Jessica?
I have a question.
Yeah, let's ask it.
Yeah, no. So how did that affect? So you said you have 3 kids now.
Yeah.
How did that experience growing up there? How did that affect you as a parent? Right? Were you committed to doing things differently, or
You think?
Right? Of course. I mean, obviously,
I'm a really vigilant parent. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, no, because it's hard. It's traumatic, right? And
yeah, it's interesting because what I see now, my kids are now 15, 20, and 25, and I was fiercely protective of my kids, very present, very involved mom. But one thing that I do see, especially with my daughters, I was definitely that girl. And I still am. Like I would climb any tree. I would always do it in a dress. I could climb any tree. I could make a fire better than anyone I knew. I still chop wood better than anyone I know. Like all of these skills. And there is a sort of street smartness and savviness and resilience that I think is hard won. That I see the ways in which I protected my children from that.
I was going to say, because it's easy to be overprotective, and then maybe overreact the other way, because there are kind of the fruits of kind of a rough upbringing sometimes that your kids don't get, I guess. Yeah,
there is, and I'm all about neuroplasticity and all of these sort of what we know about how when people have had really difficult experiences as children but have had successful lives, why is that? And so I'm pretty well informed about that, but I can in some ways see, but I couldn't have done it any different. I couldn't have not been the protective mother that I was. But I do see that they don't have some skills that I have, but they have other things going for them. So
and what skills do you possess that they don't?
I guess it's just a
cleaning salmon, of course.
Yeah.
Double hooking.
Yeah.
Double hooking.
Yeah, I'm really creative in problem solving. I am really tenacious. When I need to figure something out, I will leave no stone unturned. I do not take no for an answer. Really can be really fierce when I decide on something. Yeah.
And did that scare your kids?
If it needed to be. I was, very. Yeah.
I just mean in general that's why they did not pick up that skill, is because of your tenacity and your fierceness. Did they stay clear of that?
Yeah, and I think they just didn't need to. I mean,
because you did it.
Yeah, I did it for them. I kind of held that space for them. Yeah, I didn't want them. I mean, something like my husband, he would say, "They'll survive," and my hair in the back of my neck would go up, and I'd like, "I don't want them to survive. I want them to thrive." And that's kind of how I've.
They are thriving.
They're thriving. They are absolutely thriving. All 3 of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
What was the transition going to school?
It was rough. Yeah, it was really rough.
How old were you when you started going to school?
It was really, my mom, she had this idea that she was kind of this radical revolutionary, and she would randomly take us out of school, but then she wouldn't teach us anything. So there's another story there where we would like go into town and I would steal any book I saw and put it down the back of my pants. I didn't know what it was, but I would just steal it because I needed some information about the world.
Yeah.
And so, I remember when we first landed back, we went down to Vancouver, Washington, and I started school back down there, and it was rough. It was a rough entry. Yeah, and it was kind of touch or go. And I mean, my mom was also thought that daylight savings time was a communist plot and would refuse to participate for like a month until it became too difficult to not participate. But like every year it was like this.
So you were late for school every year?
Yes, yeah, exactly. I wasn't allowed to
hour.
say the Pledge of Allegiance. I was told I had to sit down and not participate. And,
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You get the idea.
Was the experience the same for your siblings, or did you find yourself kind of blocking a little bit for them?
I think
or-
blocking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the oldest of 6 eventually.
Oh,
There was
wow,
6. Yeah. Yeah.
There were 6
So
of
you were busy.
Yeah.
You were the oldest
Wow.
of 6.
Yeah, there was 3 more that came.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge family.
Yeah. Yeah.
By today's standards,
Yes,
at least. Yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's always big. 6
Yeah.
is big.
6 is big. And
yeah.
I was the oldest of 6. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyone else? Well, thank you, Jessica, for
Thank
coming
you.
in and doing this.
Appreciate
I
it.
greatly appreciate it. Thanks. And one more time for Jessica.
Do the same thing.
And now we're going to bring Rick Roberts up here and play Rick's story, which is also really only 4.5 minutes long. You guys really kept the time very well that
It's like
night.
a short story night.
Yeah. All right.
Love, heartbreak, and alternative universes. I'm sure you all remember from your physics classes the theory of alternative universes, which is that every time you make a decision or a big choice in your life, 2 universes split off, and both of them are equally true. So I'm going to employ an alternative universe to illustrate how, at the most crucial point in my life, ignorance was not bliss at all. So here's universe number 1. As a young man, I'm footloose and fancy-free, and the last thing on my mind is marriage. Then I met Renee when she moved from New Jersey to San Francisco, and we hit it off right away. But I remained aloof so that she didn't think of me as marriage material. I knew that Renee wanted marriage, children in her life. But even after we rented an apartment together, I didn't discuss those topics at all, kept them at a distance. We had great sex. We had a really good sound system. So who needed marriage, right? So about a year after we moved in together, Renee flew to New Jersey for her 10th high school reunion. And when she was gone, I realized how much I loved her, and that I did want to get married, and I did want to have children together. So she returns from her reunion, and I'm really happy. And I propose to her, and I look at her, and nothing. She would not discuss it with me. So our happy home ended up with no music, quiet. Excuse me. A wall grew up between us, and after a while, I started to get snarky out of the pain and rejection, and we split up. I was wrecked. I began drinking heavily, smoking dope profusely, and jumping into the bed of any woman who felt sorry enough for me to take me in. Eventually, I moved on with my life, but I never figured out what happened at that reunion, and I blamed myself for getting sour and for losing Renee. A couple of years later, I found out that she